Hi, it's Louise from WelshBunnies.com here with my 9th Project Life video. Hope you like it. Hi, here I am. And just before we start on the Project Life, it was very recently Valentine's Day whilst I'm recording this. And Valentine's Day was a few days ago. So I just wanted to quickly show you the things that my husband bought me for Valentine's Day off my wish list, obviously. These are, and it was an order from Lawn Fawn, because I love them. Here's Whale You Be Mine, which is perfect for me because my little girl is really into a program called Octonauts, which is all about sea animals. So it's all whales and sharks and fish and penguins and things. And this is the matching die cut, so I can just stamp it and whiz it through the die cut machine and have little whale embellishments. This is a simple script love, really nice. And these are, as soon as I saw them I knew I wanted them there. These stitched, if you can just bring this up to the camera, you can see the stitching on the outside of the circles, and I got them in both sizes. So just a couple of products in case you wanted to see those, see what they look like. Now, here are my photographs for this week, and I've got 3x4s and 6x4s. So I'll just decide where to put these on the layout. First off, like that maybe. So we just have a look at these photos and decide whereabouts we want them to be in the layout. Yep, that looks good. Now, if you look at all these photographs, they come from the same event, which was a trip to the park. And this is right in the middle of when I wasn't very well, and so I forgot to take a lot of pictures, which means already I know that all of these colours are quite cohesive. And it means there won't be a lot of journaling, so there'll be a lot of space for just straight up Project Life cards where it's just got a sentiment or a picture. I'm not going to need a lot of space for journaling because this is all just from a trip to the park. Now, I had a look at the colours in the photographs, and there's a lot of green. And I decided to go with a red, green and brown colour scheme. So here I've got brown, 3x4s, green, 3x4s, and this is a very appropriate card for a week like this week where it's all just all these pictures were taken on a single day. So the best day ever is really good for this week because all these pictures were taken on just one day. I already know that I want to use this one, so I'm just going to list one. He is totally awesome, so I'll put that one to the side, so I'll definitely be using that one. So here are more green ones. And here are some red ones. So looking at having a few of these big cards that are just straight up sentiment that you can just pop into the pockets and then everything is done. A few 6x4s, but I don't have that many 6x4s in actuality. Now I'm interested in using this brown floral print. If I bring it up to the camera you can see it in more detail. So it's a brown background, lots of green with the leaves and little red flowers, so I might be able to incorporate this one. It's nice, but I found it tricky to use in any of my projects so far. A nice red hexagon print, and then some plain green and brown, and then stuff for my scrap baskets. This is a lovely dark brown wood grain, some red, and these flowers again, which I think I might have pulled out in a previous video and not used, but this is an ideal week to use these because the red and the green is in this week. So already I know that this little card is going to go in here. Just straight up pop that down because I know that that's where I want that to go. And then looking at these things, I think I want both of these to have a nice big border of red. So I can grab this piece and I can trim it down to be 4x6. So if I push this board out the way for just now, I can start working on these. Now the reason for that is I think a nice big border, it helps to show off the colours of the week. So I'm going to take off 1/4 of an inch on either side of this one, and maybe take 1/2 an inch off the top. There we go. There we go, I've chopped this photograph down, and now I can just quickly pop this. Nope, sorry, I want that to be 4. There we go. And 6 by 4. Now, because this isn't a plain red, it's got arrows on it, if you can just see that there. This photograph is on the right hand side of the layout, going in that way. So the arrows on this one, which you won't be able to see much, but the direction will be like that. And with the picture that's on the top left hand side going in this way, I'll make the arrows point going in that direction. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to chop this down and stick this down, and then I can have a look and see if there are any embellishments that I like the look of to pop into this corner. But I'll just quickly trim that up and have a quick look for embellishments. So here we are, I've matched up both these, and what I've done is I've grabbed my tray of embellishments that are flowers. So here I've got some really nice flower embellishments. I think I'm going to grab one of these each, and these look really good stacked on top of each other, so I'll see if I've got any little green ones. Here we go. See a nice layered green and brown there, and then stick something red right in the center. Look good. I might go on this side though for a red. There we go, with a green embellishment. And I know that I want this one to be in this corner and this one to be in this corner. So now I'm looking for maybe a brad to go in the center of there. So if I quickly run to my collection of brads, then I can have a look and decide what I want. Well, here's a nice glittery red brad, and see if I've got sort of matching green one in here. There we go. So here's little green and red brads to finish these up. And so to put these in, I'm just gonna decide where I want this, and I'll just grab my scissors, and I'm doing this on a piercing mat now. I'm gonna just put it a bit over the edge there. There we go. Pop the red brad in and fold it over, and then I can just snip the excess off, and there we go. And I'm going to put a sentiment here, just probably tucked underneath the flower as well. That's what I'm planning to do. And then on this side, put that in there. And once again, I'm planning to put a sentiment along there. I think the lighting on this is a bit strange because it's one of those British days that you'll really only probably understand if you live in Britain, where it's just really sunny and then really overcast and then really sunny and then really overcast. Like that 4 seasons in one day thing really is a British phenomenon. Because it just, you know, the light and the weather and the sun can change up so much. So I'm going to quickly grab, and I should have had this organised ahead of time, my label stickers. Here we go. I quickly grab them. So label stickers. Now I think I'm looking for something green. Okay, so here we go. This is a nice Jilly Bean soup brand does these little soup labels, not soup ladles, and they're just a really nice size for project life. So I've had them in a number of different collections. So I'm going to pop this one here. It's a nice, it's a great colour match, and it's quite, the sentiment matches quite a lot. And this one in here. There we go. There we are. And I feel like a little embellishment here would be good. So I will grab my wood veneer embellishments and decide maybe a little star would be nice. I really need to buy some more of these hearts, these wood veneer hearts, because I have used them all up and I've got none left. Same with the arrows, little wood veneer arrows. I've used them so much, really could do with some more. So I'm just going to grab 2 sort of medium-sized wood veneer stars and just put them there on the page. And to me that just looks better. For some reason just the flower and the sentiment looked a little bit bare to me. So how I glue these on is I take my ATG gun, I stick the wood veneer onto the glue at the very beginning, if I can get that in focus. There you go. And then I just peel it off. And if there's glue over the edges of the wood veneer, I just pop it back around and then stick this down. There we go. I'm going to call this one done. Nice little embellishment cluster there in the bottom. And now these ones, these particular photos have all the colours of the this week on them, which I, as I'm always saying, I really like to have cards that contain all the colours of the week. Just going to tuck that one underneath the flower a little bit. There we go. There we are. Now some people don't like to use really dimensional, thick embellishments on their project life. You know, they wouldn't say use a brad because that adds like, you know, 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch, or they wouldn't use the wood veneers. But I have about half a year per album in mind because I use badges, I use stickers, I use things. So I'm not trying to keep it flat so I can get as many weeks into my albums. I just use the supplies that I really like, even if they're very dimensional. And I don't worry so much about keeping the layout very flat. I like to have dimension and foam dots and all that kind of business. So I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking what I would like. Now I think that's a nice burst of red, so I think I might end up doing what I've done on a previous week, which is to put a border on 2 edges. So these 2 edges and these 2 edges, and since I've already got a lot of red, nice bit of green, I'm going to do that in brown. So what I do is, to do that, I just grab these photographs and I take off like 1/4 of an inch off. No, I'm gonna say 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch off that side, 1/8 of an inch off that side. And just 1/8 of an inch, and 1/8 of an inch off this one. And then I can just very quickly grab, and I'm going to grab this. This is the brown I'm going to choose for this because it's a wood grain print and some of these pictures are in the woods. Because to get to our nearest play park, you walk through a little bit of woods. It's very, very lovely. One of the reasons we're so happy to move here, when we moved about a year ago, was because that it was so near such a nice play park for the kids. So we go there often. And then, so this one is on the right. This is one is on the left. So I'm going to put this one in here. There we go. And this one is going to go like that. And it just adds a little bit of a frame to these pictures. And it means that these pictures are a little bit embellished, but it's not really distracting from the photograph itself. So there's that one. And then there is this one. No, I think I want this one. Yeah, I want it to be the mat to be on the top of the photograph and on the left. So there we go. And the fact that the mat is on this side accentuates that this is the left hand border of the page, that it's on the left here is that, you know, it's on the left. I think I might have said left with this one. This is the right one on the right hand side and this is the left hand side. Now looking at this, I want to put an embellishment here and here, and I'd like them to be matching. So if I just have a quick think about what I'd like, and I'm going to grab some of those wood veneer hearts I was talking about earlier, because I've already got wood veneers on the page. It can be nice to, if I've got wood veneers on, it could be nice to put other wood veneers on. So if I put a heart here, right here, and they're matching, but they're not matchy because this one is way more rounded and this one is more lengthy. Now that looks a little bit bare to me still, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Sizzix machine and use my brand new, if I can find it, just pop them here. I'm going to use my brand new die. I'm going to cut this circle out in green, and with the lovely stitching detail on it. I'm going to cut it out in green, chop it in half, and put half a green circle here and half a green circle here. So I'm just going to do that right now. So I'll put these to the side, and I will grab my Big Shot. Now I always use my one, well not always, but I tend to use my one with the magnetic platform. See that there? It's the magnetic platform. It's really useful because almost everything I own is a thin metal die cut. So it's very handy. Struggling to get this open since it's the first time it's been used. Just lift this one up. And then obviously using these machines is very easy. You just put a plastic the sheet of acrylic on the mat, your piece of paper, the die cut with the cutting edge face down, and then I just whiz it through the machine. Like that. Easy as pie. And now I've got this lovely stitched edge circle to use. I'll just pop all this to the side for now. And then all I have to do is cut this in half. Unfortunately, right this moment, I can't see my scissors. Oh, I don't think I've used them yet today. I think I might have some spare scissors in here. Now these aren't nice detailed scissors, they're just ordinary scissors I have lying around, but since my scrap picking scissors have gone AWOL, just quickly snip that. And because this is a small piece of embellishment, I'll just grab my zigzag 2A glue and then just put a bit of glue on there. And I'm just literally going to stick these onto the edge. There we go. And put the heart on top. And I've misplaced the other half of a heart. Oh, there it goes. I was thinking I'll have to stop the video and rewind it to see where my half a circle's gone. I was able to find it. There we go. Stick that down, and then just doing it the same way as normal. Just grab a bit of stickiness off the ATG gun. So, put the embellishment on the edge of the ATG gun glue, and stick it straight onto the page. Now, one of the advantages of using the ATG gun glue for wood veneers is that it is absolutely adhered. That's not coming off for any reason. So there we go, that's nice. And what I'm thinking is this might look nice with a little bit of red here. I'm just thinking how I might organise that. So I'll give a think about that. I like how that looks. Actually, I know what I'm going to do. I want there to be a bit of red on this. So I will grab my red stickles. Here we go. Stickles. And I'm just going to pop some stickles on here. Just bring in a bit of red. A little bit of glitter and glitz. There we go. I've been experimenting with how to best sort of spread it out, but I still think the best thing to do is to tap. Get the glitter to spread a bit. There we go. And now I'm going to call those two done. So I'll bring back my board. You can see where we are up to. This. There we go. Now make sure not to touch those whilst the stickles glitter is drying. Oh, probably bring this in so you can see. So yeah, looking at the video as I record this does look quite overexposed, too much light. So I think I might have to look into buying some sort of lighting implement that would lighting rig or something so that I can get a consistent lighting, because the sun it's really sunny and then it's really dark, and so just as the sun's slightly beginning to fade, it's becoming less exposed. So I'm just whispering now about the lighting conditions. Ignore me. Looking at this, I really want it to have a nice white sticker on here. This is one of my favourite supplies for Project Life, which is clear stickers for me and my big ideas. And this is the baby girl. What's that? This one, You Make Me Happy. Looks like it might be nice in there. Oh, so I'm just gonna take You Make Me Happy. If I can get it off the page, and stick it down here. There we go. Now I'm quite careful to make sure I get it right first time, because I print my photographs at home, and if I have to peel back stickers off, it tends to peel the pigment from the photograph too. So There we go. I really like how that looks. Just a little bit of embellishment on that one. Now, if I look with what else we've got these two gaps in here. I want a brown one and I want a red one. So let's just go straight to my pile of 6x4s and see what we have. So if we skip past all the just the green ones and have a look at the red ones. I really like these. I bought these recently, I think on the last video or the video before. I went through this sheet, and it's a J'adore by Basic Grey, and it has lots of these lovely like old-timey labels things. So I just really like how that looks, and it's a lovely colour match. And then I don't have a thing in brown that's really, but I could put that there. And then think about some embellishment that's going to go on there. I might actually prefer to have just a plain brown. There we go. So now I've chosen what these are going to be. Now I've got this. So if I go back to the 6x4s, this might be a nice background for the week. So this will say week 45. And I think I might want to put one of these. Oh, I found my scissors. After they've gone wrong. A nice big one of these and put it here. Now I'm looking at this tiny floral print there, and it's not gelling with me, and when I put that flower on, it's even more not gelling with me. I think I'm just gonna turn this over and use it as a scrap of white, because I've had it for a long time. I quite like how it looks, but if it doesn't fit in with this layout, it's never going to fit in with any of my layouts. I think I've decided that this is too busy and too small a floral print for me. So I'm just going to turn that over and use it as white. But I would like to have this big red flower on my week. So if I bring out this 6x4 that we had left over from doing the 3x4 mats on these. There we go. Maybe there. Go. And then have a nice big red flower here. Yep, I like how that looks. So I will cut this one out and come back. So I cut out this nice big flower, and whilst I was doing that, I also cut out this nice big flower as well, so that it could go on, not this one, this 3x4 card. But when I looked at this, the contrast between the brown and the red was not enough, so I grabbed the piece of scrap paper and this nice dark brown diagonal stripe, and when I put the flower on top of that, really nice and contrasting because it's a much darker brown, so the red is much more contrasting. Now this is going to go, I think I like it up here best. I'm going to glue down this one here. Now I'm not going to, I've already rounded the edges on this one, but I'm not going to round the edges on this one because when I look at my week, all of the other 3x4 cards are staying with their sharp edges, sharp corners. So I'm going to leave it like that. So I'm going to glue this one down, and then that will be all of the 3x4 cards done. But let's work on this one now. So I think the easiest way to stick this down is just put some ATG glue in the middle, and then on the outside of the flower just do the edges with my two-way glue. There we go. There we are. Stick this down. Nice. And then I can just trim off the edges. And I always keep any little bits of flower that I trim off, because this or this, these pieces, they could be nice just to quickly put onto a card as a bit of embellishment. But when it comes to me having finished this week, I will definitely throw these in the bin rather than keep them, because otherwise I find I just have too many bits and pieces round and about. But I'll keep this until the end of the layout and see if it fits anywhere nice. So now I'm looking in my lettering, and this is my lettering box. It's just a sort of like A4-ish sized cardboard storage box from IKEA, and I'm just gonna quickly go through my selection, and I'm looking for obviously green. Now in my mind I can't think of an alphabet that I have. Oh, here we go. I have this lovely alphabet, and you can't see it at all on the camera. I have this lovely alphabet, and I'll bring it right up to the camera so you can see it. It is, if I angle it away from the sunlight a bit, this glorious map print. It's quite old now, but the moment I saw it, I knew I had to have it because it is beautiful. And now this works really well for me as a choice because it's like a woodland outdoorsy week, and so this map print is highly appropriate because I got pictures taken in the woods, at the park, and the lovely outdoorsy map print is going to look really good. I really do love this alphabet. I do have quite a lot of map print papers in my collection because it is one of the things I really love. And I think it is good to know what you really like, because then you end up, you know, I knew when I bought these they were definitely going to get used. They weren't going to sit in my collection not getting used. The only worry about that is if I thought they were too pretty to use, and then I would just like, oh, I can't use them, they're so beautiful. There we go. Lovely, 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 lovely map print lettering there. If I bring it up nice and close, you can see how lovely it is. There's the full card. Now it looks a bit plain to me. There's this big gaps here, so I'm going to think about what I want to do with that. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with it. Okay, I've made a decision, so let's roll with it. Let's just grab a piece of acetate just from my drawer, and I keep pieces of plain acetate off packaging so I can use it. I'm just going to peel off these letters, and I'm going to do some stitching on this card. So I'm going to grab my piercing mat, and I was looking at this card, and this is my favourite card of the week. It's such a lovely picture of my eldest, and I'm going to do some stitching on this one as well. So I've got my piercing mat from when I was piercing Dad earlier. Here's my little storage box of stitching things. So I'm going to grab my piercer, and I got this piercer from one of the Amy Tangerine stitching sets. So if you buy one of these sets, these sort of sets, these are stitching templates. If I bring up, you can see better that they're like stitching templates, and they come with some thread and a needle and one of these stitching things. They also come with very small stitching mats, but I've got this bigger piercing mat, just happen to have it already. So I'll grab a needle. I keep all of the needles that I got in this piece of foam, and then I keep that in there. I need to make sure that all my needles and things are very carefully kept away because I've got young children. Now I want the stitching around the edge of this to be in green, so I'll use this green because it's a good match to the green colours of the week. And I want the stitching around the outside of my girl to be in brown, because I want it to be quite a subtle detail around the edge here. There we go. So I can pop this away. Now I like this stitching mat because it allows me to work quite quickly, because around the edge of the mat it has these lines with dots on. So if I just pop this picture into the corner, I can just quickly pierce wherever there's a dot. And I'm doing this a bit in from the side of the photograph. There we go. And then it means I don't have to measure or think about it too much. I'm very I'm very quick about these things, because that sort of, it's easier then just to try things out. Makes it easier for me not to worry. Otherwise I can get a bit indecisive. Oh, will this look good? Will this not good? If I don't like how this turns out, I'll just print it off again. That's one of the benefits of printing your photographs off at home, is that, yeah, if you don't like how it turns out, I just print it off again. It's no big deal. I don't normally stitch right onto the photograph. I'm not sure if I've done that before. But I will see if I like how it looks. And I really love this photograph, and I do want it to be accentuated so that it pops out of the layout a bit more. But I don't want to add too much embellishment, so I'm hoping that just a little bit of stitching around the outside in this brown will just lift it slightly. Might also cut out a little brown heart and stick it in that corner once I've done the stitching. And now this one, I'm going to do the same thing. So I will start from here and then just stitch up. Now where the flower is, obviously there's not going to be any stitching, so I won't worry about that. It will look like the flower is over the top of the stitching, but actually there won't be any stitching underneath this flower because the flower was here first. There we go. Pop this along here. So just very quickly piercing where I want the stitching to go. Now another good reason to do the stitching on this card is that it means that this card isn't the only card with stitching in the whole layout. I think it looks quite nice to have repeated elements in a layout. So if I've got a bit of wood veneer, I'll probably add one to another card. If I'm doing stitching, I'll probably do it on more than one card. Makes it look nice and cohesive. So there's all of the piercing done on these two cards. I'll stitch the threads round off camera, and I'll come back when that is done. So here we are, we finished the stitching. Here's the stitching on the title card, and then very subtle stitching, if you can just see on the outside there, on this one, this little 3x4. Now I've grabbed a wood veneer heart to put here, but putting it there it looks a little bit plain, so I grabbed these offcuts from there, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit in this corner and then stick the heart on top, and I think that's going to look, that's looking really, really nice. So all I have to do is put some glue onto this offcuts and carefully stick it down on here. I'm going to be quite firm with sticking this one down because this needs to stick down on top of the threads, so it'll be slightly more tricky than if it was just straight onto the photograph. And then once again, to put down this wood veneer, just use the glue from my gum. Oops. Having a bit of difficulty with this glue. Right, let's try again. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Pop that down. I can really hear my little girl having a good old whoop and holler upstairs. She's having a good time, whatever she's doing. I don't know if that's being picked up by the microphone, but it's very sweet in the background if you're having a nice time upstairs. So there we go, that's this one finished. So I can put that one down and done. Now this one, we'll bring back the little lettering that we just temporarily put on the acetate. The reason why I put it on the acetate is it doesn't stick to it much. So it's a good place to pop lettering temporarily if you've lifted it up to do something like stitching or painting or misting, whatever it is. If we need to remove some lettering, it's a quick way to do so. Now that looks much less bare to me. That looks way better. If I look at this, yep, I like how that looks. So I'm going to quickly lift this up again. These letter stickers are here and there and everywhere today, and just stick it down. Same way as we did with the 3x4 card, and just adds a little bit more interest to this corner. Be quite firm about pressing it down. Snip off the excess. And then put these letters back down on top. Now this flower being underneath the lettering looks really good. Creates layers and dimension. There we go. And now I'm going to put the date down, and as always I'm using my Dear Lizzie date stamp. These come in all kinds of things now. These roller date stamps, really useful for project life. And this is a very dark paper, so I think I'll be able to print straight onto it with my Hero Hues dye ink. So the dates for this week are November the 3rd. Just carefully put enough ink there. Oh. Make sure there's enough ink, just wipe off any. Now I'm going to do this along the top of here. There we go, November the 3rd to November the 9th. There we go. November the 9th. Now this looks a bit scruffy, hasn't come out well, which can happen. So I'm just going to grab my white pen. As I say on every episode, this is my Uniball Signo Broad white pen because I love it and I use it a lot. So then I'm just going to go over the stamp with this. It's a really amazing white pigment. Really excellent. Just do a dash. There we go. And there are the date written on there. Now I think I'm just gonna do a little dash along here because I think it's just a little bit too much gap. There we go. And it echoes the stitching. There we are. I'm gonna call this one done. Now if we bring this back, if we bring back the board, oh, a bit too much stuff in the way there. This place has got untidy now that we're midway through. There we go. So once I've glued down this, that'll be my next thing to do, glue this flower onto that 3x4. Now all that's left is gluing that 3x4, but then we've got these two big pieces here. Now I haven't even thought yet about what I want to put in here, but I think that I might grab this one. I love you very, very much. Stick it onto a, put that there. If I'm going to be using a dark brown big background, I want to have it. Okay, so the choice I'm making here is, if I want to have brown here, I don't want the brown to be directly underneath it, so I put that there. So then brown here, balances it out. Nice bit of brown on this side, nice bit of brown on this side. But I do like how that looks. And then I will just put in a little bit of green. So I'm quite happy to take two 3x4s, stick them on a 6x4, obviously round the corners so that this has rounded corners to match this, and then just stack them on top of each other and call that done on a piece. So if I grab my trimmer and I will cut this off. That's 4 inches and 6 inches. There we go. And that I think leaves me with a 3x4 there. Then if I just quickly round the corners on this piece and this one, and then I can just stack these on top of each other. Now what I'm going to do here is, to match all the stitching that's on other parts of the layout, I'm just going to very quickly do some faux stitching with my white pen. So literally just making a dotted line about 1/8 of an inch from the outside of the card. And now this mostly won't be seen because the cards are going to obscure it, but for where it is visible, it's just going to be a nice little detail that pulls in all the other stitching on the page, and it means I don't have to do actual stitching. I could get out my white stitching, I could do all that stitching, and on a different day I might, but because this is almost all going to be obscured, it's a little bit of a waste to do all that work and then have it all covered up. So if I just leave that to dry for 2 shakes for lamb's tail, I just put like that there, so it's going to look like that, and that's where I can just call that done. Like once I've stitched that down, once it's dry, and I can put that on the top, and that leaves me with one last one, and I know that I want it to be green. I want the background to be green, so I can grab this scrap. Here's a nice big scrap of green, because we've got lots of red on the page so far, lots of brown, so I want this to be green. So I'm taking this nice green polka dot print. Through. So this is what I'm going to go with, and now I want to think about what I want to do with this page. Now I think the easiest thing to do is go to my box of stickers. Now this is just an A5 size storage box, and I store my Project Life supplies and all kinds of things, and so I'm just having a look for any big sticker embellishments that would work nicely here. Might not find anything. No, nothing's popping out at me right at this very moment. These tend to be smaller, cuddlier. I don't know if that's a way to describe a sticker, but they tend to be Pokemon characters and little cats and things. So here's my box of die cuts. That's a lovely pink flower, but it's pink, and also pink's not this week's colour scheme. Oh well, these are nice. There's a red on here and a green on here. If I cut these out, I could stick these on. And it matches because this would be like daddy and baby and mummy and little one. I'll think about that. And I found this nice big. Oh look, that's nice. This is an offcut from when I was doing a mini album. So I could put that on there, these on top. This one here, and some top. So sentiment in the middle. Let's try that. Oh, If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I like how that looks. And the polka dots sort of enhance that a bit because there's 2 above and 2 below. Just move that along slightly. This needs to be slightly further along still. Sometimes it can be tricky to get these things. There we go. That's a nice. Now, if I quickly cut out these little die cut pieces, then see how they look, because then I could put a nice sentiment in the middle. Something like happy families, I think, would be good for this particular week with all these pictures of all 4 of us at the park. Obviously, there are no pictures of me this week because I was the one behind the camera, which is, as lots and lots and lots of scrapbookers know, one of the things about being a scrapbooker is oftentimes you're scrapping lots of pictures of the family, but you're not in them because you're the one who's taking the pictures. So sometimes my husband remembers to take pictures. Sometimes I specifically ask him, look, we've been on holiday for 5 days now. I suppose I should be in this album. There you go. I like how that looks. It looks a little, it's nice and sort of 50s. That's obscuring a lot of the thing though. So, I'm not sure if I like how this looks when a lot of it's obscured. Put that one there, this one here. But then there's just this weird gap in the middle. Or I could just go like that. Just like that. Now, do I like how this looks? It feels like there's not a lot of empty space around here. So maybe put, maybe if there's some sort of flower embellishments in some of the corners. So I can grab, I've got a separate box. This is my small box for, and this just has frames, doilies, flowers. That's all that's in this box. So when I want a flower or a frame or a doily, this is the box that I can run to. And I know that I have little red flowers in here. So it's quite useful to know your supplies, know what's a possibility of, you know, if you know what's in your supplies, then you can quickly grab them. Here we go. Now, actually, these are a lot more pink. But if I put that one in there. Now, the easy thing I can do is just to colour those with the red to make them red. That's no problem. And I think I want a second one maybe to go in the top corner. But here's some little red ones I could add on there. Actually, I think a little bit of pink is not too distracting. Since it's just a little bit there, it shouldn't be too distracting. Now, as I was saying, it can be useful to know what's in your collection. Do I like how that looks now? Yes, I do, I think. No, I'm still not sure. Still not sure about that. Right, I'm going to take these flowers away, and I'm actually going to just pop all these back in the box. Pop these all away, and after deciding that I liked how this looked when I've added those other embellishments, I think no, I don't. I'm not happy with how that looks. So I'm going to whip this off. But I do like having the brown on there. So, and if I just put these straight on here, looks a bit plain. I'm going to grab some more of this lovely Actually, I'll use a different brown. I'll go crazy. I grab this brown, which is a nice diamond print. And I want it to, I'll just cut it out, let's say 3.5 by 5.5. 5.5. So there's a nice border on there. Put this one here and this one here. So if I ink the edges of these, pop that there. Now the first thing I think is I'm going to round these corners. Now that I don't have if I had a shape like this, all sharp edges, I wouldn't want to round the corners of the background piece. But now that that's gone, and this is all the background to these two pieces, both of which had rounded edges, I'm going to round these edges so that it's more cohesive. So I can just pop this on here. There we go. And then I'm going to ink these edges, because if they're going to be stacked on top of each other, you definitely want to have the edges inked. Now if I had brown ink, I might switch to using brown ink to ink the edges of this, but I don't have any brown ink, so black ink will have to do. Let's set these on top of each other. And now I'm going to put a title up here. I'm probably going to say Happy Families in a small font at the top there. So let's arrange these how we want them. That's a bit too close to the edge. Just get them how I want them. There we go. And I'll see if these two little red flowers will look good around here. I think a third one sort of tucked in there would look good. So I will grab back my box and quickly search for, oh, camera lock focus. There you go. So I'm looking for a third little flower to go in there. While I look for this, just I think there all these tiny little red ones are down at the bottom. Oh, here's half of a big one of the same type. And then I can just pop this in behind here. If I pop this in the bottom there, pop this one in here. There we go. That's nice. Nice little bit of red detail on there. Adds a little bit of layering. So I can just snip that off and glue these down with my little detail glue. I think when I get back from, because I'm recording this one in advance, because I know that as I speak this to you, I'm actually on holiday, visiting my brother, and then I'm going to a sort of holiday woodland type place. It's called a centre park, so I'm not sure if there's an American equivalent, but it's a little there are lodges out in a forest, and you can do all sorts of activities, cycling, swimming, all that kind of thing. It's very sort of activity based holiday. I'm going there, although one of the main things I'm planning to do there is go to the spa, which isn't very active, but it is very lovely. Now let's have a look at this. So I want small lettering up here to say Happy Families, and then I'll probably will do a little bit of journaling there, just about how much we love going to the park. So grab my lettering back, see what lettering is small enough, and I could do with reorganizing this lettering so that it's a bit more like with so the large letters and the small letters aren't quite so. Got this font, but looking at it, that's going to be too big. Here we go. Hopefully this will have all the letters I need. And I can either go for green, or I can go for red, or I suppose I could go for a mixture of the two, or even craft would work. It's a brown. So I think I'm gonna go with HAPPYFAMILI. There's no E's, but there is a C that I can turn into an E just with my little white pen. Yes, so let's go with that. So I'm probably going to want to work backwards. And having this grid pattern might be quite useful because it means I can probably just line it up with that. So this is the C, and I know I got to turn that into an E with my pen. Emily's. It's always that thing of thinking, how do I spell backwards? So it is just writing backwards. A bit tricky sometimes. Here's the, and I'll go for capital F. There we go. Families. And then I want the happy to be offset against this. So just put it on top. Oh, both of these pieces come together, which is useful because it will be like that. So it's a little skew, so maybe try and fix that there. And grab a capital H. See how that looks. Now, to me, this looks way too far down, so I'm going to move all this up. And be careful to make sure that I'm careful lifting these up, because otherwise you leave the glue behind and then you're just picking up the cardboard rather than they're no longer adhesive, because you've just left the adhesives on the page and you've just picked up a piece of paper then. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up a bit. So I'll move this title up a bit, and I will glue these down and these down, and then that will be the week pretty much done, and I'll bring it all back and see if there's anything else I want to add, if it all looks cohesive and brought together. And here we are. And I moved this title up, did journaling here, and I really like how this looks. I can't see any particular points or spots where I want to add anything else. I really like the three colours together, the red, green and brown, and I've got, you know, wood veneers here, and so all the wood veneers, and then some fake stitching here with just the white pen, and then some full stitching here. So I really love how this week looks. I'm glad I was able to use these big flowers. I think they're really gorgeous. So that is this week finished. So I'm going to call week 45 of 2014 done. That's all for this episode. If you want, you can look me up on Facebook, Twitter, check out my website welshbunnies.com, or you could look at some of my earlier videos. Thanks for watching.